It is a warm summer evening. The work is done, and you would like nothing better than to sit out on your porch in the cool of the day. But you cannot, for the mosquitoes are out, whining about your ears and biting your arms and the back of your neck till you give up and go inside. So you reach for the can of chemical spray, the harsh-smelling stuff you do not much like to coat your skin and your children's skin in. But there is a better way, an old homemade way. A spray you mix yourself from a few cheap things that keeps the mosquitoes off, and best of all, smells absolutely wonderful, like cinnamon and vanilla. Like a kitchen at baking time rather than a chemical works. Before I go any further, I want you to get something to write with. Go on, get a little diary or a plain piece of paper and a pen. I want you to write this down as I say it. That way, you have it in your own hand to keep or to share with a neighbour. It's the old way of passing things along, and it makes it real. I'll wait for you. All right, now you have your paper and pen ready. I am Emily, and I keep up this Lancaster County place with my own hands the way my people always have. I know for some of you, the word Amish brings to mind a very strict picture. We are a plain people, and we hold our traditions close. The old ways, the things our grandmothers knew, are often kept within our families. It is a way of protecting our simple life. But I have felt a growing weight on my heart. I see the world outside, and I see so many folk struggling with harsh chemicals, with things that are not good for their children or the land. My grandmother always said that the earth provides for us, and that hiding a good, simple remedy is like hiding a loaf of bread from a hungry child. It is not right. So, I have made my peace with it. I am stepping beyond the fence of tradition to share this secret with you. It is not a secret to keep locked away. It is a gift of nature to be shared. This is the old, plain, homemade way, and I believe every person deserves to know it. Now let me be straight with you right at the start about what this spray is and is not, before I give you a single thing, because I will not promise you what no homemade spray can do. Write this down. This spray keeps the mosquitoes off you well, and it smells far better than any chemical can, and it costs you pennies. But it is not a wall of armour, and it does not last forever on your skin. It wears off after a while with your sweat in the evening, and you must put it on again. And I will say this plainly, for it matters in the places where the mosquito carries real sickness, real disease. This homemade mix is not the thing to trust your life to, and you should use the strong, proven protection there and not gamble on a folk recipe. But for the ordinary backyard, the porch of an evening, the garden at dusk, keeping the whining biters off your arms while you sit and work, it serves beautifully. And it serves sweet-smelling and cheap and natural, so that is the honest measure of it. Take it for what it honestly is, a sweet, cheap helper for the ordinary evening, and it will serve you well for years. Now, here is how you make it. Get your pen ready. You are going to want to write this down. You need but 3 things, and a 4th that is only water. The first is pure cinnamon oil, and this is the heart of it. For the mosquitoes cannot abide the smell of cinnamon. But mind me close here, write this down in big letters, for cinnamon oil is powerful and can irritate the skin. So you use only a little, a single teaspoon, not a tablespoon, a teaspoon. For a little does the work and too much will redden and sting your skin. The second thing is pure vanilla extract. A full tablespoon of that for vanilla too has a way of keeping the insects off. And the two together, the cinnamon and the vanilla, work better than either alone and smell like heaven. Besides, use the real vanilla extract for this if you can. The true stuff, not the cheap artificial flavouring, for the real extract carries more of what the bugs dislike and smells the truer for it. Though I will own the real vanilla costs dear, so the artificial will do at a pinch. A tablespoon is plenty, enough to scent the whole bottle and do its work alongside the cinnamon. And the third thing is a carrier to hold it and help it keep. And for that, I use witch hazel, that old gentle thing from the drugstore. A few tablespoons of it. Some folks use a high-proof grain alcohol instead, which helps the spray keep longer on the shelf, and that works too. But the witch hazel is the gentler and plainer choice, and serves fine. The reason you want one or the other is that the cinnamon oil, being an oil, will not mix into plain water on its own. It only beads up and floats. But the witch hazel or the spirits help carry the oil into the water and hold it there better and help the whole mix dry on the skin without staying greasy. So it is not just for keeping, it is to marry the oil and the water in the first place. A small thing, but it is why you do not just shake cinnamon oil into water and call it done. And then last, you fill the bottle the rest of the way with pure water, about 1.5 cups. And here use clean, pure water, distilled or your good well water, not the city tap water with its chlorine and such. For the pure water keeps the mix cleaner and truer. Now you may wonder why a mosquito should mind the smell of cinnamon and vanilla, so when to us they smell of nothing but a good kitchen. It is that a mosquito finds you mostly by smell, by the scent of your skin and your breath on the air. And a strong sweet smell, like the cinnamon, confuses and masks that scent, so the bug cannot home in on you the way it would. You have hidden your own smell behind the cinnamon in a manner of speaking and thrown the bug off your trail. And the cinnamon itself the mosquito plainly dislikes and keeps away from. So between the masking and the dislike, the bug leaves you be. That is the plain sense of why it works. No mystery to it. The making could not be simpler. You put your teaspoon of cinnamon oil into a common spray bottle, your tablespoon of vanilla, your few spoons of witch hazel, and then fill it up with the pure water. Cap it and shake it well, and that is the whole of it. The smell that rises out of that bottle, I tell you, is a wonder. Warm and sweet cinnamon and vanilla, and you will hardly believe a thing that smells so good is keeping the mosquitoes off you. But it is. You can mix it right in the spray bottle as I do, adding each thing in turn and the water last, or mix it in a bowl first if you like, and pour it in. It makes no difference, and the amounts are not so exact that you need fret over them. A teaspoon of the cinnamon oil is the one thing to hold to firmly for the reasons of the skin I gave you, but the vanilla and the witch hazel and the water you can judge by eye well enough once you have made it a time or two. It is a forgiving recipe, plain and simple, the kind a body can mix up of an evening without any fuss. Now the safety on this, and you heed it, for I will not have anyone hurt. Write this down. The cinnamon oil is the thing to mind. Before ever you spray it all over yourself, you test it, for some folks are sensitive to cinnamon. Spray a little on the inside of your wrist and leave it a day. And if your skin reddens or itches or stings, then you have a sensitivity to it and must not coat yourself in it. If you already know cinnamon troubles you, do not use this at all. And once you know it is safe for you, still you never spray it on your face. Never. For if the cinnamon gets in your eyes, you will dearly regret it. It stings something fierce. To protect your face and neck, you spray it on your hands and then rub it on the back of your neck, your ears, your forehead, never spraying near the eyes. And do not breathe the spray in. Turn your face away as you spray your arms. Used with that plain care, it is a safe and gentle thing, far gentler than the harsh chemical sprays. But cinnamon is strong and wants respecting. And here is a gentle way to use it for those whose skin is a little sensitive but not truly allergic. Rather than spray it on your skin at all, you can spray it on your clothes before you put them on, your sleeves and your collar, and let the sweet smell hang about you that way, keeping the bugs off without ever touching your skin. That is a kindness to tender skin, and it works near as well, for it is the smell about you that turns the mosquito. Spray the hat brim, the cuffs, the collar, and go out wrapped in the scent of cinnamon and vanilla, with nothing on your skin at all. A couple more practical notes to make it serve you well. Each time before you use it, shake the bottle good. Turn it upside down and back several times, for the oil and the water will separate and settle as it sits between uses, and you want them well mixed when you spray, or it will not work right, and you will waste it. And as for keeping it, this is a fresh, natural thing with no preservatives in it, so it does not keep forever. Store it somewhere cool. The top shelf of your icebox is best, and kept cool, it will last you a couple of months, maybe the summer. Kept somewhere hot, in a shed or a hot greenhouse or a car, it will go off far quicker. So keep it cool and label the bottle plainly so nobody mistakes that sweet-smelling stuff for something to put on their food, for it surely is not. That is a real caution, mind, for it smells so much of vanilla and cinnamon that a child or an unknowing body might take it for a flavouring and put it on their food or in a drink. So mark the bottle clear and keep it apart from the kitchen things. And because it does not keep so very long, do not mix up a great vat of it at once. Mix a bottle at a time as you need it through the summer fresh, and you will always have it at its best. It takes but a minute to mix, so there is no sense making more than you will use before it turns. And remember to put it on again after a while, for as I said, it wears off. It is no permanent armour. A fresh coat every so often through the evening keeps the biters off, especially after you have worked up a sweat or wiped your arms, for that takes it off sooner. Now, since I have mentioned that the old people kept the bugs off long before there was any spray to mix, let me give you a little of that older wisdom too, for the spray is only one tool. The first and best old way is simply to deny the mosquito its breeding ground. For the mosquito breeds in still standing water, and a yard with standing water is a yard that breeds its own torment. So you walk your place and dump out every bit of standing water you find. The old bucket, the wheelbarrow left out, the clogged gutter, the saucer under a flower pot, the low spot that holds a puddle, the rain barrel left open. Tip them out, turn them over, screen the rain barrel. Keep no still water sitting about, and you will breed far fewer mosquitoes to begin with. That one bit of plain housekeeping does more than any spray, for it stops the bugs before they ever hatch. Understand how the mosquito comes to be, and you will see why this matters. So the mosquito lays her eggs in still water, and the young hatch and grow there in the water before ever they take wing to come bite you. It takes only a little water, and only about a week of it sitting still for a fresh crop of biters to hatch. So every bit of standing water about your place is a little nursery, breeding the very mosquitoes that will torment you. And the worst of it is, most folks breed their own without knowing it in the forgotten bucket, the old tire, the clogged gutter, the bird bath left to sit, the tarp that holds a pool, the low rut in the lane. Walk your whole place after a rain and hunt out every such spot and tip it, drain it, turn it over, or screen it. Change the water in the bird bath every few days so nothing has time to hatch. Keep your gutters running clear. A yard with no standing water breeds few mosquitoes, and that does you more good than all the spray in the world, for the bug never born never bites. The old people also knew that smoke keeps the biting bugs off, and a little smudge fire of an evening, or smoke from the right things smouldered, would clear a sitting porch of mosquitoes. And they knew certain plants the bugs dislike, the strong-smelling herbs, and would plant them about the porch and the sitting places, or crush a leaf and rub it on. The strong, scented growing things, the ones whose leaves give off a sharp smell when you bruise them, are the ones that help. Planted thick where you sit, so their smell hangs in the air. And a handful of leaves crushed and rubbed on your hands and arms lends you their scent directly. And the plainest old protection of all was the good screen on the window and the porch, for a well-screened porch lets you sit in the cool evening with the bugs kept out and no spray needed at all. And there is wisdom, too, in when you are out among them. For the mosquito bites worst at dusk and at dawn, those still soft hours at the edges of the day, and lies lower in the heat of noon and in a good wind. So if you can do your outdoor sitting in a breeze on a porch where the air moves, the mosquito struggles to fly, and fewer trouble you, for they are weak flyers, and a wind defeats them. A simple fan on a porch will keep them off you for that very reason. They cannot fly against it. Between denying them their breeding water, screening your sitting places, sitting where the air moves, and this sweet homemade spray for when you must be out among them, you can keep the mosquitoes from ruining your summer without ever coating yourself in the harsh chemical stuff. Now, let me say the small honest word about who profits from your not knowing how to mix your own. Not to rile you up just so you see the shape of it. There is good money in the chemical bug sprays, the cans and bottles bought again and again every summer. And there is no money at all in a man knowing he can mix a better-smelling repellent himself from a little cinnamon oil and vanilla for pennies. You cannot patent a thing your grandmother could mix in her kitchen, so nobody advertises the homemade way, no business is built on teaching it. And these cheap old mixes simply fell out of the common knowing while the cans got all the telling. I am not saying a man schemed this. No one had to. It is worse than a conspiracy because it is a system nobody had to coordinate. It simply pays to sell the can and pays nothing to teach the homemade mix. And so the old ways went quietly untaught. The old people kept the bugs off without any of it because they had to, and they knew how. So there is the whole of it. I hope you wrote it all down. A homemade mosquito spray that keeps the biters off you well. Smells like cinnamon and vanilla rather than a chemical works and cost you next to nothing. A teaspoon of cinnamon oil, a tablespoon of vanilla, a few spoons of witch hazel, and pure water shook up in a bottle. Mind the cinnamon. Test it on your wrist, keep it off your face, shake it before use and keep it cool. Put it on again as it wears off. And do not trust a folk mix, where real disease is the danger. But for your porch and your garden of a summer evening, it will keep the mosquitoes off you sweet and cheap and natural, the old homemade way. And paired with the plain housekeeping of draining your standing water and a good screen on your porch, it is the whole of what most folks need to take their summer evenings back from the biters without a chemical can ever entering the house. Now I want to hear from you, and I ask honest because I learn the whole country from these comments. Tell me in the comments below, how bad are the mosquitoes where you are? And will you try this sweet cinnamon and vanilla spray? And tell me your county and how damp your ground is, because the mosquitoes plague the wet, low places far worse than the dry. And I like to map it by where you all write from. I read everyone. Next time I want to show you the older ways still of keeping the biting bugs off without any chemicals at all. The plants the mosquitoes cannot abide, the smudges and smokes the old people used of an evening, and the plain housekeeping that keeps a yard from breeding the torment in the first place. The old people sat out on their porches of a summer evening and kept the biting bugs off with sweet-smelling things from their own kitchens and gardens and a bit of plain knowing, not a harsh chemical can in sight. There is a quiet pleasure in keeping the mosquitoes off with something that smells of cinnamon and vanilla mixed by your own hand for pennies. The porch kept pleasant by a sweet homemade spray, and a little old knowing is the porch that remembers how the old people passed a summer evening. The people who built this country with their hands knew that.